Welcome to today's class. We're going to be working on isometric holds followed by dynamic movements. The main goal with the isometric holds is to learn how to hold tension in the right places and along a whole kinetic chain so that we can really benefit from force production and from neural coordination. So we're going to get stuck in with a little bit of a warm-up to begin with, just to get the mobility and the joints moving. And we're going to start with this modified pigeon. So we're going to end up reaching one leg behind us, crossing it over. Then I want you to sit back and go onto your elbows. Now I have the right leg crossed behind me, so I'm going to reach my right arm up and cross it over my left arm. And from there I'm going to turn my right hand up as well. So then I'm just going to sit back a little bit more if I can and make it a big reach. So I feel like my right side is getting a very big stretch, and you might feel it around the hips, around the glutes as well, especially on the left leg in this pose. And we're just going to breathe in and out a few times in this position. And we're going to take our time, come back up onto the hands and knees and swap sides. So we'll reach the left leg back, cross it over the right leg, sit down onto the elbows, cross your left hand over, turn the left palm up, and then sit back a little bit more if you can, making yourself really long and kind of like a banana shape, sticking out towards your left side out here. Excellent. From here now we're going to do some cat-cow movements. So we're going to lift the back up, tuck the tail under, bring the chin to the chest, and then reverse the movement. Tail up, tummy down, chin up. Reach the chest towards the floor, towards the angle of your hands. Keep the mouth closed as you look up. Try and push your tongue onto the roof of your mouth, and then reverse direction. Press through your hands through the floor, like you're reaching really long to make your arms really long, to make your back really high. And the other way, once more. Back to neutral. Now from here, what we're going to do is just go on the back. We're just going to stretch our knee towards our chest. And we're just going to try and reach that other leg really long. So my left leg in this instance is reaching towards the wall, while I pull my thigh on my right side towards my stomach. And swap sides. Take your time to get into these positions to allow the joints to find the most comfortable way to do it. Reach your right leg, pull your left leg. Once more on the other side. And once more on the left. And then final one, overhead mobility. We're going to get the hands up on the floor like this. We'll bend the knees up, feet flat. We want to slide our hands up over our heads onto the ground, keeping the backs of the hands, backs of the wrists on the ground the whole time. Make sure you're actually trying to get to straight elbows. But if your back is lifting off extremely high, just try and really push the back in, and if your hands have to come up, that's okay. Just go wider, so make it more like a V shape. rather than going straight up overhead. And then pull the hands back down, and we're going to do 4 more slides. So reach up, elbow straight, back on the floor, and pull back down. Two more. And one more. Okay, so now what we're going to do is a reverse plank is our first activity. So we're going to get yourself set up near a wall. And this exercise is a little bit like a glute bridge, but the setup is a bit different to what you're probably familiar with. We're going to have our knee only a little bit bent, and as I said, our foot is actually going to be partially up against the wall and partially on the floor. So in this instance, I have my heel on the floor, but I have the ball of my foot pressing in against the wall. My foot is not completely flat against the wall. The heel is about an inch away. You'll find out a comfortable distance for yourself, but essentially my foot is not straight up, it's pointing down a little bit. Then my knee on that side is going to be a little bit bent, but we're going to be able to keep it almost straight. We're at like 20 degrees bent. So from there, I'm going to have my left leg in the air, my back is going to flatten into the ground, and then I'm going to lift up my hips just a couple of inches while I push my foot against the wall and hold. So we're going to be doing this and holding it for 30 seconds, but if it's too intense, just do 2 legs and go for a minute if you can, or as long as you can. You can also do short blasts of at least 5 seconds ideally, and then take rests in between and keep going at the same pace that I'm going at overall. So you might get 5 or 6 reps of 5 seconds in on 2 legs or on 1 leg, whichever you prefer to try. Do what's challenging but not impossible. So I'm going to go for the 1 leg 30-second hold. I want to feel like my back isn't lifting off, just like we did with that last mobility drill. I want to feel like my back is on the floor before I lift my bum up. So once I'm happy with that position, then I'm going to lift just the bum up off the floor, and this part of my back feels like it's still on the ground. This leg, you can hold it straight, you can hold it bent. It doesn't really matter where, but you're holding this leg up. So got another 25 seconds to go. What I want you to feel is like the leg is doing a lot of work, the glute is doing a bit of work, the back is doing 0 work, so we don't want anything there. You'll feel a little bit maybe in the calf as well. You might feel a lot in the hamstring just above the knee and the back of your leg. That's really normal. If it's too intense in that position, you can just pop back in. So we're going to rest on that one now. So you can go in closer to the wall and have your knee more bent. So that's how you'll regress that as well. I'm going to swap onto my left side. I'm going to push up from there. I'm going to hold this for 30 seconds. So the way you're pushing is not like necessarily directly horizontal or parallel to the floor. It's actually at a little bit of an angle. So again, it's as if we're trying to push our foot down slightly without actually lifting the heel at all. So this is how it's an isometric. So we're holding a position, but building tension and force throughout the position, throughout our muscles in the right places. Okay, we'll take a rest there. The next part then is our dynamic part. So we're going to place our foot up higher on the wall, and we're going to do a dynamic hip thrust. So it's going to be very similar, but we're going to be actually lifting our hip and putting it back down in a fluid motion. So the foot now flat against the wall is, we're going to use the whole foot to push against the wall, and this will be far more like you're pushing straight through it, or slightly pulling down the wall. That's actually a really nice way to think of it as well. So you're pushing a little bit forward and pulling a little bit down while you lift this hip up. You still want to try and start with your back flat, and don't let your back change that position at all. So that's me arched, I don't want that. I want my back to stay feeling like it's in the same kind of curve as when I started on the floor. So we're going to go for 8 of these on each leg. If you feel like you're being pushed away from the wall as you go, pull down a bit more in order to keep yourself there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So So in this one then you should feel hamstring and glute, but mostly you should feel that the glute is reacting to push you up, and it feels like the back is still not helping at all. So we'll go for left leg, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Great, so the next thing we're going to do is a side plank. So this would be fairly familiar to people. You can do it with your hand and arm elevated on a bench or similar. You can do it on your knees, like this, or just the standard version, you can do it with your feet straight out. But even that has some variations, so you can do it with the top leg forward, or you can do it with them stacked. We're going to go for 30 seconds with this one, and then we're going to do the other side straight away as well. So I'm going to go in about 3 seconds to 1, lift. I really like to put this top arm pointing up towards the ceiling as well, and I want to see this head doesn't flop down. So I actually keep my head up in line with my body as well, as best I can. Let's go 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to swap sides. We're going to go up in 3, 2, 1, lift up. This time, the tension we're trying to get from, get this high hip action, so we're not sagging here too much. We're getting that up nice and high. We're holding our head up high, we're pushing through the floor, through our arm and our feet, so that everything is actually contributing to this position from head to toe. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and relax down. Now this next exercise is also a familiar exercise if you've been doing the other classes. So we're going to do a suitcase carry. So you just need to find something heavy to lift up. And we're going to walk around with this. So depending on your weight, we're going to go up to 30 seconds of walking. So I'm going to start now. But if your weight is very heavy, you might have to take a break before then, and that's fine. The point is to challenge yourself. Now the way in which this is similar to a side plank is that the weight is trying to pull me down here, but I'm going to try and use my side, my hip, to keep myself upright like this. And so you're using your side to hold yourself upright. It's the same idea. 3 seconds left on this arm, and then swap sides. Halfway. As with the side plank, try and keep your head neutral. So that means in this case, eyes up, looking straight ahead. So head isn't forward or tucked in like that. I want to be able to keep it over your ribcage, over your hips. Okay, that's that time up. The next exercise is slightly different take on isometric. So rather than it being just one static hold, it's going to be an extremely slow movement. This is going to be tough for the vast majority of people. In fact, it should be tough for everyone, otherwise you're probably going too quickly. So what it is a very, very slow movement and just one rep. We're going to be doing it as a split squat. So as we know, I've been using this exercise a lot. I think it's got loads of benefits to it. We have one leg in front and one leg behind, nice big stride. You can have something beside you to help you in case you feel a bit wobbly or you feel like it's just a little bit too tough to get back up and you just want a little assistance there, that's fine. What we're going to be doing is trying to move as slowly as we can through one rep, and we're going to take 20 seconds to try and go down and up. So about 10 seconds down, 10 seconds up. You can take it as 5 seconds down, 5 seconds up, or whatever you can manage. You might just do the negative part of the eccentric part, which is basically just the lowering part. So you might just go really, really slowly and feel okay with that. And then rest your back knee down, take a break, and when you feel ready, just stand back up. Whichever one feels more doable to you, but still a good challenge, go for that one. So, I'm going to start on mine. I'm going to roughly, it's very rough by the way, I'm going to start moving down really slowly. I'm going to try and take at least 10 seconds to get to the bottom. I think I can take a little bit longer. And obviously we don't need to add weight to this. The slower we go, more challenging it is. Okay, so now I'm going to start coming back up. Again, just going as slowly as I can. I want to feel tension, especially through this front leg. I want to feel that it's continuously pushing me up, but slowly. And the back leg is obviously helping a little bit as well. Probably about at least 60% in the front leg, if not 80% ideally. So that's up, and then we're going to swap sides. So again, go at your own pace. I'm going to go quite slowly. I'm not going to be too strict about my time. I'm just going to go little by little down. And what I'm doing is trying to teach the body to really stabilize really well at every little part of the movement. Feel strong, feel like I'm not swaying, I'm not losing my foot contact with the ground, my hip isn't shooting out to one side. Feel everything is aligned the whole way through the movement. And then I'm pushing back up. Feel like I never lose pressure through my foot, the front. Never lose balance. And I'm back up. Okay? We're going to shake it out after those reps. Walk around a little bit. And then we're going to go into the dynamic version of the split squat. We're going to do 8 each side. Again, if you want any assistance with a chair placed in front of you, for example, or just anything that you have nearby, a wall, whatever you want to hold onto, feel free. Otherwise, we're just going to go down and up in our usual split squat. I'm going to set my pelvis, make it feel quite level and not shooting out behind me like that as I go down. I don't want to feel like I've got a big duck bum. I want to feel nice and loose here. Tailbone is pulled towards the floor a little bit as I go down and up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Swap sides. Okay, set the pelvis, eyes up, and going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Excellent, so we've got 2 more exercises to go through. The next one is going to be a bear crawl, isometric. So if you want to get a little bit of water at any stage, obviously feel free. We're going to go into this one, which is a bear crawl, which means we're crawling, essentially. I just mean you can say all fours position. I often refer to it as a bear. So here we're going to put one hand forward, so I'm going to put my left hand forward. I'm going to put my left foot back, then so my right knee stays ahead and under the hip. But I'm going to bring my right hand back, so the wrist is just in front of that right knee. Then I'm going to be lifting up my knees. I'll be straightening out this leg and just holding that one up an inch off the floor, the right one. And then I'm going to hold for 30 seconds. I'm going to take a little break and then I'm going to swap sides. So we're going to start in 3, 2, 1, lift up. Again, neutral enough head, so it shouldn't be flopping forward. Your eyes will be towards the front hand. Seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Take a break. Swap sides. We'll go another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and lift up. position for the exercise that we're going to do dynamically for us. It's going to be up against the wall. You're going to be on your back this time. This is a dead bug. We're going to have our hands first up against the wall. So rather than the floor, they're against the wall. And the thing that's going to be moving is our legs. So pushing in to the wall with our hands. And we're going to keep our back flat on the ground. You should feel like it's already flat. But if not, you might just have to take a big exhale to help. That'll get the ribs down. And then we're going to move our legs out one at a time. The starting level is keeping the knee bent and just reaching your heel down as one piece. So you still move the leg all together, move it down and up, and then go to the other side. And as soon as you touch the floor, you just come back up. You're trying to control the rate, so you're not falling down. It shouldn't be a big foot. You should be able to just gently tap the floor. Then, as you get better at this, you can straighten the leg out more rather than just keeping it bent. So we're going to go for 8 each side. You should feel this in your tummy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Good job. We just have one more exercise left to do. That's going to be a downward dog, followed by the dynamic movement of overhead pressing. So for this, I'm just going to stand up a little bit, forward. We're going to be doing a downward dog. Now if you're feeling quite tired or you feel your overhead stability isn't that strong, for example, you might like to just do it as more of a child's pose, but make sure that you're still pushing through your hands a bit. So we still want to have good intent through the hands. And you're going to keep your bum from your, not actually sitting on your heels, so that you're getting that you're able to actually get the pressure through your hands. Whereas if you sit right down, you're not going to be able to do much through your hands. So this is the first progression, pushing away like that and holding. Whereas the full one is knees up, straighten the legs, or have them a little bit bent if you need to, depending on your mobility, and then push the ground away through your hands. We're going to be pushing away for the 30 seconds as usual. So I'm just going to check the time. 3, 2, 1, off we go. Remember to keep pushing the ground away through the hands, but try not to shrug the shoulders up. So you're not trying to have your shoulders by your ears. That being said, it doesn't mean they don't come up at all. Okay, take a break. So a little bit of upward shrug is normal, but it should come kind of just a little bit up, not all the way up. And you don't want to feel tension through the neck, and so we want to feel like the arms are doing work. You might feel good stretch in the upper back as well. So our overhead pressing is the next part. We're going to grab a weight. You can do this standing or kneeling. I'm going to do it kneeling. And we're going to be pressing the weight overhead and coming back down. Now the reason I like doing it kneeling is because it helps to keep our core tight and just stable through the trunk. So this way I won't necessarily be able to lean back as much. It would be easier for me to tell if I'm doing it because I'll just get that sense a bit more easily compared to if I'm standing. So in this position, I push my hips over my knees and then I try and hold my hips there while I push the weight overhead and try and feel like I'm just one straight line. So biceps by the ears and my hips haven't gone ahead of my knees like that, otherwise it'll feel like the weight's going to fall behind my head. So it's a good indicator for you. So we're going to go for 8 reps in this. Grab anything else you like, or just go with reaches if you prefer, rather than using a weight. Okay. Set yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8. So, that is our 5 exercises. Isometric followed by dynamic. So I like the isometric one for learning how to hold tension and getting a nice kinetic chain effect throughout the body, and learning how to keep tension. The dynamic, or the very slow split squat, is particularly good at showing yourself when you might actually be switching off a bit. So if you ever notice your foot lifted off, for example, or you just suddenly lost balance in one point, that's your body just deciding to lose tension in the right places. So by teaching it to actually keep it through the full range, you'll get better and better at that lift, and will probably transfer across to other parts of stability and balance as well. If you're out of breath, as usual, we're going to be breathing in and out nice and slowly, getting our breath back to normal, in and out through the mouth, and if you need to, but then getting it nose. So we like to have a little bit of a pause between breaths. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So you're not rushing your breaths in between. If you have any questions about any of this, just get in touch. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and you can, of course, as you get better at them, you might like to do 2 or 3 sets at a time, or just pick your favourites and do 2 or 3 of the exercises and combine them in an order that you enjoy.